Good morning. I'm J. Lenora Bressler, and welcome to the July 8th, 2017 edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details, as we continue our look at the Psalms, the hymn book of ancient Israel. One of the most famous quotes from the Psalms comes at the very end of Psalm 19. I want to read it to you now. Let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. You know, a lot of us are people pleasers. We care very deeply about what other people think about us. And we do, as long as what people like is moral and legal, we try to be that for them or get that for them. That's not necessarily a bad thing. As a matter of fact, the opposite, somebody who truly doesn't care at all what their fellow human beings think about them, is, in C.S. Lewis's words, one of the most evil creatures, because it shows a pure selfishness and an arrogance where they are only looking at themselves and measuring themselves through their own eyes. And that is probably even worse. But it's like a pendulum swing. You can care too much, you can care too little. But who should we really be more concerned about? And that, of course, is the Lord, our Creator. We should care more about and think more about what would please Him. Are we acting in a way that would be appropriate in His sight? And my question to you and me today is, how often do we think about, in the context of, is this appropriate? Would God be happy? The meditations of our mind and our hearts. You know, to meditate, a lot of people think of that being a new age kind of thing where you make your mind blank almost. But that's not what meditation in the Judeo-Christian tradition is about. Meditation here, certainly as David meant it in Psalm 19, actually has to do with like a cow chewing its cud. Repeating something over and over, thinking about it, looking at it from different angles, taking time to really get everything out of it that you can. We all do that. That's something that's human nature. We ruminate on things. We fill our minds oftentimes with the same kind of thing. We bring things back over and over. Matter of fact, there's an area of the brain that actually, because of the way women's brains are, there is more blood going to this part of the woman's brain than the men, which may explain why sometimes, I know I'm being stereotypical, but biologically, women are kind of designed to think about certain events over and over. And that's why a lot of times an event, they may remember more details and feel a much more interest in those details than men sometimes. It actually has to do with the way their brains are designed. But we all have this concentration center, and we all have a tendency to return to thinking about those things which we are intentional about. So I want you to think about when you're driving down the road, when you're walking, when you are getting dressed in the morning, what is going on in your mind? And are those meditations, would they be acceptable to God? Now, I don't mean necessarily are they evil or wicked, but would He consider them the best use of your time? Would He consider it a wise way to start the day or to continue the day? If you're not sure, just open yourself up and ask. That's what this psalm is actually all about. It starts out talking about how that nature, creation, proclaims the glory of the Lord, but then at the end it becomes very personal. For example, David asked himself, "Who can discern a man's errors? Declare me innocent from hidden faults. Keep back your servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then shall I be blameless and innocent of great transgression. He wants God to search him, to know him, and to help him use the time that he's been given and the talents and the brain and the heart that he's been given aright. I'm J. Lenora Bressler. Visit me on the next edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details. Have a great Saturday.